Let's get right into it and understand the ultimate uninhabited mystery box of our planet. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're uncovering the secrets of Antarctica. For centuries, this massive continent at the very bottom of the world has remained completely out of human reach. It's this isolating, seemingly endless expanse of white that hides monumental secrets beneath miles of frozen water. It's a place that has captured our collective imagination precisely because it is so fundamentally hostile to human life.
To really grasp just how hostile this environment truly is, consider the temperature. During the darkest depths of winter, it plummets to a deadly negative 90 degrees Celsius. To put that into a relatable perspective, exposed skin can freeze solid in mere minutes. There is a very good reason it's the only continent on Earth where no human population naturally resides. The sheer biting cold alone is instantly lethal to the unprepared.
And hey, if the staggering drop in temperature doesn't stop you, the wind absolutely will. The surface of this continent is constantly ravaged by terrifying blizzards, with wind speeds reaching up to 300 kilometers per hour. That is significantly faster than most Category 5 hurricanes. We're not just talking about strong breezes here. These are violent, relentless forces of nature that create a blinding, chaotic environment. It makes navigating the landscape nearly impossible and incredibly dangerous even with our most advanced modern equipment. Yet, despite all this surrounding ice and snow, we have a stark contrast. Antarctica holds a shocking geographical title. It's technically a desert. Actually, scratch that. It is the driest continent on Earth. The interior receives a mere 51 millimeters of precipitation an entire year. It's a completely frozen, desolate wasteland where the moisture is locked up in the ice beneath your feet, rather than falling from the sky above. Okay, let's dive into this, because here is the ultimate paradox. If this continent is such a deadly, freezing desert, why are all these nations, France, Norway, Australia, Britain, Chile, Argentina, and New Zealand, so desperate to claim and control massive chunks of it? Why map out borders on a block of ice? What exactly is hiding beneath the surface that has global superpowers actively carving up the territory?
Section 1. The deadly race for discovery. To understand today's geopolitical scramble, we first have to look back. The obsession isn't new. Even ancient Greek philosophers like Aristotle theorized its existence. Without ever seeing it, they believed there simply had to be a massive southern landmass acting as a mirror image to the North Pole, just to balance out the globe.
If we walk through the history of this frozen wasteland, it's a timeline of escalating obsession and incredible danger. A recent study suggests the Maori people might have been the very first to navigate these treacherous southern icy waters way back in the 7th century. Later on, British Captain James Cook desperately tried to reach it, but he had to turn back just 130 kilometers away, blocked by a terrifying wall of icebergs. It wasn't until 1820 that Russian explorer Fabian von Bellingshausen made the first modern sighting of the actual continent. And then, there's the heartbreaking 1911 expedition of British explorer Robert Falcon Scott. He and his team miraculously walked 400 miles deep into the punishing ice to reach the South Pole, only to discover they had been beaten there. The return journey was a nightmare. The entire team perished from freezing and starvation, locked in the brutal elements. The race for discovery was quite literally deadly.
By the 19th and 20th centuries, this drive for exploration morphed into a fierce, aggressive competition for economic dominance and territory. And things got extremely strange. In 1939, under Hitler's orders, the German Air Force literally dropped heavy metal Nazi flags from the sky, piercing the ice to claim the area. Following World War II, a multitude of nations recognized the strategic value of the South, and global research stations started rapidly popping up across the ice.
Section 2. Bizarre secrets under ice. Once those massive research stations were fully operational and the drilling began, scientists started peeling back the first layer of Antarctica's mystery box. And the anomalies they found buried deep beneath the surface? Absolutely mind-bending.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how drastic things have changed. Imagine swapping 3 kilometers of solid, freezing ice for a sweltering, dense jungle. That was Antarctica 90 million years ago. Scientists from Imperial College London actually discovered fossilized wood and the ancient remains of warm climate insects buried deep beneath the permafrost. This proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that this massive, freezing desert was once a vibrant, hot, rainforest ecosystem teeming with life.
But the wonders aren't just frozen relics of the ancient past. They are thriving right now. Buried beneath that massive 3-kilometer ice sheet is a hidden, subglacial world featuring around 400 underground lakes.
These enormous bodies of water have been entirely sealed off from our atmosphere for millennia. Within them, operating in total, crushing darkness, scientists have found alien-like biological wonders. We're talking about strange, isolated ecosystems featuring completely see-through jellyfish and giant sea spiders. Because, let's be honest, nothing says alien ecosystem quite like giant creeping spiders swimming in the pitch black.
Now, what's really interesting about this phenomenon is how we can scientifically debunk one of the continent's most famous and terrifying myths, blood falls in the McMurdo Valley. For years, observers watched in horror as it looked like the glacial ice was literally bleeding a deep crimson red into the ocean. But the reality is just a fascinating chemical reaction. An underground, highly salty lake rich in iron finally breached the surface. After thousands of years of isolation, when that iron-rich saltwater finally hits the open air, interacting with oxygen and sunlight, it rapidly oxidizes. It simply rusts, giving the rushing water that striking, gruesome blood-red color.
Section 3. The geopolitical battleground. So, we've solved some of the natural mysteries, but now we need to pivot to the human secrets. We're uncovering the hidden, high-stakes political front that most of the global public is completely unaware of.
You might have come across the popular internet conspiracies. Back in 2016, strange anomalies spotted online led to wild, viral claims of ancient civilizations and crashed alien UFOs hiding out in the snow. I impartially want to point out that the reality is much more grounded and perhaps more concerning. What people are likely seeing, according to political experts, are covert military and highly advanced scientific air operations conducted by major global powers right under our noses, all trying to map and secure the terrain.
This brings us to the 1969 Antarctic Treaty. Supposedly, this treaty mandates that the continent is a peaceful, demilitarized zone strictly for shared scientific investigation, where all findings must be distributed globally. Yet, while the rest of the world is distracted by headline news, superpowers like the US, China, and Russia are quietly but aggressively expanding their footprint on the ice. China, for instance, has been incredibly busy building multiple new, highly sophisticated research stations. So why this sudden massive push for expansion at the ends of the Earth?
Section 4. The Rare Earth Gold Mine. We have finally arrived at the core reveal of our mystery box. What are these major global powers actually fighting for in the harshest, most unforgiving environment on the planet?
It represents a massive paradigm shift in global resources. Back in 1992, a U.S. geological survey discovered staggering reserves of oil and natural gas under the ice, roughly 500 billion barrels just waiting to be extracted. But that is the old energy prize. The true target, the absolute necessity driving today's desperate scramble, is future energy, rare earth minerals. These are the exact, vital resources unconditionally required to power the next century of electric vehicles, advanced batteries, and essentially all of our future technology.
So the crucial point is, Antarctica is sitting on vast, untapped quantities of elements like osmium, praseodymium, terbium, and dysprosium. These aren't just obscure words on a periodic table. They are the exact minerals powering the smartphone in your hand and the electric vehicle in your driveway. As the world shifts rapidly away from fossil fuels, the demand for these highly specific minerals is absolutely skyrocketing. The race to control the future of technology has literally brought global rivals to the deadliest storms on Earth.
Section 5. The Melting Future. But, as you might have guessed, there is a massive, looming environmental factor at play here that is drastically accelerating this entire geopolitical scramble.
The southern ocean surrounding Antarctica is incredibly dangerous, but it is an absolute lifeline for our survival. It fundamentally regulates our global climate and water supply by absorbing a staggering 15% of all global carbon emissions. However, this massive absorption rate, paired with steadily rising global temperatures, means the ice protecting this continent is rapidly melting. The shield is basically failing.
And this global warming physically alters the playing field. The melting is breaking down ancient ice barriers that have stood for millennia. Waters that were once entirely impassable to human ships are, very soon, going to turn into highly lucrative navigable global trade routes. The frozen vault is literally thawing, peeling back the ice to expose untouched treasures and strategic maritime pathways that have been locked away for millions of years.
Which leaves us with this final, crucial question. As the ice melts, the oceans rise, and the geopolitical race for rare, world-building resources reaches a boiling point, what else will be uncovered in the deep south? Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the world around you.